Welcome to the Protein MB podcast. I'm Jordan Cherewyk, and we are here as a resource for the protein industry. Our goal is to bring information and get people excited about what's going on in protein, the entire sector, as well as all that's going on in agriculture. It blends together, and Protein MB is here to be the hub. So again, I'm Jordan Cherewyk, and today we have Katharine Cherewyk, the Executive Director of Ag in the Classroom. Katharine, before I toss this over to you for an introduction, I just want to say that this one was special to me. I know we've talked off air about this, but I've actually volunteered at the pancake breakfasts that you do in schools. It is very important to me that a lot of people understand and know the great work that you do in the classroom to help kids and teachers understand ag. So without further ado, Katharine, tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Great. Yeah, thanks for having me on. You must have been a volunteer at the at our MB's, Manitoba breakfast, which we don't unfortunately run anymore. But I get so many people coming up to me and saying, "Hey, I made pancakes for school one day." So yeah, thanks for that. We'll get you back at another event. I'm Katharine Cherewyk. I'm the Executive Director of Agriculture in the Classroom, Manitoba. Agriculture in the Classroom, Manitoba has been around for 35 years. Our mission is to help educators and to inspire educators to promote agriculture literacy in their classrooms so that their students can, feel connected to agriculture, understand how food is grown, how it's processed, how it gets to their plate.
Yeah, and I think that's something excellent to do it that way is the support that Ag in the Classroom gives. It's when I saw you guys in action, it was that teamwork with the teachers. It was being that resource so that an educator can just bring excellent information forward. And that, I guess that's kind of part of Ag in the Classroom is that resource.
Yeah. And, agriculture isn't specifically in Manitoba curriculum. It's not listed as an outcome that students have to know or, that educators have to teach. But we do look at specific areas of the curriculum where we can piggyback agriculture literacy on top of, the curriculum. And so we do look for, in K-12 students, we work with teachers at home schools, independent schools, First Nation schools. We really say that we're for all students in Manitoba and for all educators in Manitoba. We create really high quality curriculum linked materials that are Monday morning ready, we say. So if you come to one of our professional development sessions, or you receive a learning kit in the mail, you can use it the next day. It's really laid out in a way that helps educators understand, get the background information, and then it's easy to use. And it's, all of our resources really are meant to have some sort of intro to agricultural concepts, and also to, promotes critical thinking, exploration, awareness. It's moving knowledge up this sort of staircase, we call it, of ag literacy, so that a grade 12 student, when they graduate, really understands how food is grown, how, helps them make informed decisions, and it helps them to be advocates for the industry, even if they don't work in the industry.
No, and I love it. And I think this is something to point out too, is you're the Executive Director in Manitoba, but this is a nationwide project with some of there's a lot of excellent minds that are involved in this. So the content that students are getting, not only will it benefit them if they stay and live in Manitoba, but this is something that is across the board. They're going to know Canada.
Yeah, so we are part of Agriculture in the Classroom Canada, which is made up of a collective of different types of agricultural education organizations within the country. And so we all run a little bit differently. In the provinces we run independently, but together we share the same goal of, cultivating some curiosity in agriculture literacy, or in agriculture, so that they become literate. And one of our main goals too is to promote, a lot of interest in actually going into the industry as a career opportunity, and understanding that agriculture is more than farming. It is, all of the things that go into the production of food, and all of the things that go into, on the farm, to the farm, and then after the farm. How is it processed? How is it marketed? Where does it go? What are the decisions? So there's like a connection to every kind of career that helps get food from the farm to the plate.
Yeah, and I think that this is an important thing because, again, Protein MB, the podcast, right? We're here to support the 10 pillars that we have as working areas. And one of them is that future workforce and ensuring that education base. And I'd like to dive into this a little bit because, both of us being smaller town people that grew up, I got to see ag in all of its facets, right? Not just uh, the farmer and the various dairy, swine, whatever. Like, we know that exists, but I think that when you grow up around that, when that's where everyone's making their income, you see the truck drivers and transport, you see the new products that are coming out, and this is something ag in the classroom is great at is helping teachers understand the breadth and getting kids that maybe you're a little unsure what you want to do for a career, and someone says, hey, did you know that if you're science based you could get into research and help food security, right? That's part of agriculture that I don't think that leap and connection gets made. So let's jump into that a little more.
Yeah, and I know that, Protein Manitoba, you have a great strategy. I've seen like the whole mapping of what is going to be needed in order to promote Manitoba as this, protein leader in the future. And, I love it. I think it's a really great plan. And what I've always said too is I see agriculture in the classroom and other youth serving organizations in this, in Manitoba, as almost like a separate sort of cluster that really is meant to be part of that long-term planning of all of that, of everywhere that, we need to go, and all of the roles that are going to need to be constantly fed into in order to make this thing fly. And so, we are really injecting, like we are trying to open up this awareness and understanding in the K to 12 population, because that is our future. All of these plans we're making, all the targets that we're setting for 2050, 2060, we're going to have to go there. It's not us who are going to be ensuring that they happen. It will be the kids in kindergarten right now, and I always ask the question, like, if you wanted a graduate, if you wanted someone, the next policymaker, the next truck driver, the next leader of a grain company, what do you want, a kindergarten student to know, so that when they graduate, they can actually come work for your company, fill those roles. And so we all want the same conditions. I think in the agriculture industry, I assume anyway, that we all want the same conditions, right? We want this really thriving, robust dialogue around some agricultural issues that we're dealing with now, but we will be dealing in the future. And we all want the needs of every employer in agriculture to be met. But we want them to be met with well-prepared and skilled and a flexible workforce. And that's what we're trying to promote. So, we're the bridge between the industry and the sort of future.
Well, let's talk about that bridge, because the person that's going to impact that kindergarten kid is the teacher. So what kind of resources and how does someone go about getting involved with ag in the classroom?
Yeah. So really what we're trying to promote, if we're going to change those ultimate conditions, we really need to promote different behaviors and practices. And that means that we really need to promote, what knowledge, what skills, what attitudes do we want to promote in the work that we do. So how we do that is we do provide direct experiences to students, because that is one of the ways that we provide this bridge between the agriculture industry and students. Is we have programs like Canadian Agriculture Literacy Month, where we pair a classroom, a registered teacher, with a registered volunteer, and we give them a resource. We give them training. We talk about, they're going to come in and give a classroom presentation. It's fantastic. We also do things like Amazing Agriculture Adventure, and we partner with U of M at Glenlee, the research station, and all of our commodity partners are there, and students get to see animals and learn about animal production firsthand. We also create resources like in early years, we have our Manitoba seed kit. And so there's 15 different types of major crops seeds in Manitoba, and there's a teacher's guide that's connected to curriculum with hands-on activities about identifying seeds, understanding the crops, what does it look like in the field, things like that. But then we also have things where in human ecology or in foods and nutrition, we have our Eat Well kit. So a teacher can have an Eat Well kit where they explore the food guide and food production with their grade 7-8 class, and they talk about what goes into producing that food. We have lots of things for grade 10 geography. They do have a unit called Food from the Land. So we're really trying to make sure that an educator feels like they have something to talk about, because agriculture is complex, and we want educators to feel really comfortable, not scared of the topic, but just really like, oh, I get this. I can talk about what a GMO is with confidence. I can talk about, why during COVID, it was in the news, milk is being thrown away during COVID. What does a supply managed commodity, why was that happening? And really promote some critical thought on the issue. And then we also have, one of the things we do is our standard is if we produce a resource that goes into a classroom, we offer a professional development opportunity for teachers, because we really want the teacher to feel like, okay, here's a resource. It's amazing. I have a lot of questions, or I don't, but I get it. I can see how it's supposed to be used. I can talk to, the professional who's developed this. And so professional development opportunities is a really important part of the work that we do. And everything that we put into classrooms, or that we have, for direct experiences in Manitoba, we have a feedback model to try, we're always trying to improve. Our model is we're accurate, we're balanced, and we're curriculum linked. We're also science-based. So we are an unbiased source of information. And we talk about things, in truth, like we're trying to, promote the truth about agriculture. We're really good. Like we do a lot of things really well, and we still also have room for improvement. And so, students can quickly pick out like, yeah, but what about this? And we have a really open dialogue about it. Like, yeah, that's an area we should be improving in. And there's lots of technology, and here's what we're doing to try and improve it, especially for sustainability and, climate response, climate change response, those kinds of things, technology, all of that stuff. Yeah.
Hold that thought, because I think this is going to blend with this next part of this for me. I remember very long ago when I graduated high school, the career talks. Mm-hmm. And, the resources at schools are fantastic. They get you thinking about, when you get into grade 11 and 12, they get you to think, what do you want to do with the rest of your life, right? That's a huge, daunting question. But I think you nailed it there with where you were going with climate change and with all this kind of stuff. I don't think that's explored enough in the sense of agriculture, getting involved in ag, and the resources that are out there. So let's discuss that, because this is something, again, Protein-MB.
Yeah.
A big part of what we want to do is that excited workforce, not just a workforce, but passionate people putting a ton of effort into this. So
Mhm.
How do we inspire that critical thinking in grade 11 and 12 so that they understand, I see a problem, I want to change it, here's the education I need?
Well, it's interesting that you say grade 11 and 12 because that's a common misconception that in agriculture or in education that students start thinking about their career in grade 11 and 12. And actually what we found and what others have found is that they actually start thinking about it in grade 5 and 6. And so we promote careers in different way from kindergarten to grade 12. And in early years, we really explore, who's in your community. And if a volunteer comes into your classroom through one of our programs, what do they do? What is their job? That's kind of, the way we promote it. But as we move into middle years, it's really about who are you as a student? So what we really spend a lot of time in some of our career work, some of our goals in that career work is to help the student understand a little bit more about themselves. What are their interests? What are they curious about? What are they good at? What kind of jobs do they see? What about their parents' friends, their teachers? So we really we have a Holland Code assessment where we get students to answer questions every time we do a career related workshop, or we have a career case game, which we love. Really helps students understand, like, oh, what is my Holland Code? So they kind of get this sense of, oh, I'm investigative, or I'm a helper, or I'm a creative, and they really they get some suggestions. Oh, okay, so if you're investigative, or if you're you might like science, you might like like a researcher, you might like if you're creative, there's a job for you. There's marketing, there's communications, there's journalism. Like, this is all a part of agriculture and in our world. And then we really help them explore jobs through an experiential sort of learning opportunity through either one of our career fairs, our career expos, or a career case game. And we give them scenarios. So here's a real life scenario: a chicken barn burned down. The producer really wants to build a new barn with new technology, but first they have to they have to get some advice. It's like, what 5 jobs do you think would be needed in order to help this producer do this particular thing? And then the students have to sort of explore these jobs through the eyes of a real life scenario and thinking about, oh, that's actually something that I said I might like to do, And so these are the ways that we're exploring that. And a lot of our scenarios relate to the protein industry in Manitoba. It feeds, when I looked at all the clusters on the strategy, we're looking at scenarios that fit in all of those different areas so that students can explore a little bit more about, like, oh, there is a job in agriculture, or oh, maybe I should consider going into agriculture, or if I go into business, I can also then still work in agriculture. We want to draw the connections, not just if you go into the degree or diploma programs, but also how are you going to get there through the math department? Because grain companies are hiring students from the math department to understand data analysis, all of those things. That's agriculture, right? Red River, all of the tech, the mechatronics, all of those things are feeding into agriculture, the future of agriculture, to provide us with a stable and secure and sustainable source of food in the future. So I don't know if I've answered your question enough, but yeah.
You did, and unfortunately for you, it made me think of another one.
Okay.
So I heard you say job fair.
Yeah.
Is that something? So if I'm a educator,
Mm-hmm.
will you put one on at a school, or is
Yeah.
this you set up a specific events that we come to?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Well, that's a great question. Actually, our career program just started last year with the help of many of our partners. We have lots of funders, donors, individuals, and organizations. But we also received some kind of starting investment from the government of Manitoba as well last year. And so we started a career program that allowed us to hire a program manager. And one of the things we tried last year was a career expo. It was a really focused program where students really do lots of hands-on things to explore different types of careers. And they were amazing. They are so great. And then we talked to a teacher, an educator in a school in Port St. Prairie, and he really wanted us to explore doing a focused agriculture career fair so that we bring a lot of stations in. And we said, yeah, we'll try that, but we want it to be an enhanced career fair. So students really will still do their Holland Code. We want them to draw that connection to themselves. And we want every booth to also identify top careers that fit those Holland Codes. So we're really working hard at an enhanced career fair experience where we will invite anyone in the agriculture industry to have a booth, and we'll help them identify, okay, this is how we're presenting this information, because we want that information to live on in some of the ways that we are. It's not that just that the students will come to a career fair, they'll meet a bunch of people and then leave and never think about it again. We are also looking at what do we leave behind in the classroom with the student so that they actually feel like, I learned something, I'm seeing how this connects, I'm taking it home, and I'm going to talk to my parents about the potential of me going into agriculture. We want parents at home to have these conversations too, because they're such big influencers on the future of where students go. And typically it's like, go into business, go into education, go into, science, general. And it's like, yeah, agriculture is business, science, education. Like, it has a little bit of all of that. So we want them to at least consider it.
Okay, let me drill this down a little bit then. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go, this is how I like to learn. So let's say I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
I am excited about the future of my kids in this
Mm-hmm.
class because
Mm-hmm.
a good teacher really is.
Mm-hmm.
If I reach out,
Yeah.
we're doing a Holland Code test. Is that
Yeah.
that's
So
the
if you're a teacher, you're gonna have us come to your gym. We're gonna set up a career fair, and depending on the size of the school, at this one school we're doing in Port St. Prairie, we're gonna get the whole school to come through at any part of the day. And then we are actually, your students will do their Holland Code prior to attending the career fair. So they will have at least one of 6 sort of, strength finder kind of identifiers, right? You may be creative. I'm a creative. So when you go to the career fair, you'll take part in the booths. A lot of the booths, we're asking them to put something hands-on, bring something that the students can engage in at your booth. And then the students will be able to identify, like, oh, so you do hire, you have a marketing department? Like, I'm thinking of High Life, for example. You have a marketing department, you hire, people from Crecom. That's what I was thinking of doing. Yes, well, here, you can work at High Life after you graduate. And then the students will leave with their own kind of workbook that they will be working through that will help them even think about a pathway. So what is my pathway now to that career, so that then I know that there's lots of opportunities in this industry. And the pathway is, oh, okay, I have to get these grades, or I have to get these classes in high school. I'm going to go to Red River, and then I'm going to, do my internship here. Like, so we really want to look at growing these pathways of entry into the industry based on what exists in Manitoba.
I am loving this conversation because, like I say, when I got involved with Protein MB, it was such a daunting task. Because again, if you've seen the matrix that we're going through and all the pillars and everything, but I got to say, as somebody that grew up with it, this is the area where I was very interested to see how we're inspiring the next generation. And not only that, not only inspiring the career part, but the reconnection to food and farm. Because we've gotten into the career side of it, but let's chat just a bit briefly before we wrap this up on getting making sure every generation that comes along knows where their food comes from, is respectful of that, connection to the earth, and that, because that is something that I've seen with ag in the classroom, is we get people to remember it's not just go shopping and get something. It's a whole process
Right.
of people that love what they
Right.
do. And without them, we don't have food.
Yeah. So I think, the model that we all want this safe, secure food supply, right? We want, and we want access to it. We want it to be sustainable. We want, our producers and our industry to have public trust in the practices that are required to ensure that we have a safe, secure food supply. The way that we are growing, we are at a growth edge of our organization. Educator demand is higher than ever for our programs and our resources. Every time we have a learning kit in stock, it's ordered and it's out. So we are, we're looking out. Okay, we have to continue to have our supply in check and always available. We are still trying to become active with more teachers. Our goal is that by 2026, we'll be active with 2,026 teachers. And active means that they are registering for our programs, they're downloading resources, they're coming to our PD events. Right now, we're in 1 in 3 schools in Manitoba. Well, that's what we're trying. We're trying to be in every school in Manitoba, right? We're in 153 communities in Manitoba. We want to continue to increase that. But we can't do that without the increase in our partners as well from the industry. So, helping more of the industry see that they're a part of the growth of this industry as well. We need people who want to continue to tell their story, who want to continue to help us promote agriculture literacy in schools. And if they can't actually physically be there at one of our events, consider becoming a donor. If we're going to continue to reach more students and more, educators, we are going to need to grow our organization, or actually just continue to provide more resources. And so we're looking, one of the ways to do that is we're looking for multi-year commitments. Can you commit for 3 years to help us get through, our next ambitious kind of strategic growth of the organization? We have lots of amazing partners, and the government of Manitoba, through SCAP, has invested the most it's ever invested in our organization, and that is in part because we do have the support of the industry, and our commodity organizations. Just being invited to to even speak about what we do and to see the importance of it is so important to the success of what we are doing. And we're the bridge. We're growing. We're important, and we've talked to educators as well, and we're talking to the Department of Education. They also find value in what we're doing, because what we're doing for educators is we're providing them with information that gives their students the best opportunities. Right? That's what educators care about. They want their students to have the most access to the best information that provides them with the best opportunities when they graduate. It's kind of noble. It's very noble. And so we want to help with that. Yeah.
and I think it's also to that point of partners. Being around Protein MB and seeing the champions that are getting involved immediately, because there's a lot of these amazing businesses and entities in Manitoba that understand investment and support. As much support is as good as gold in a lot of cases, to get the messaging out, to get those connections, so that you can come back and say, look, we got into more schools, here's the end goal. because at the end of the day, those champions, those businesses, they need the resource of the best thing that I ever heard is the most important resource in a company is the human, and that's why there's a whole HR department
Right.
in these places. I know it's human,
Yeah. It's
you hit
human,
it
and
off the
it's
top.
not just now. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
it's
just
the
now.
kindergarten kids.
It's in the
Yeah,
future too, right?
yeah,
If we all want the same conditions, which I think we all do, then we all want a more robust dialogue. We all want more critical thinkers. We all should want to have a future workforce that wants to promote and work in this industry and to just advocate for the industry, whether you work in it or not, to understand the issues, to be able to vote with an informed mind. And if you don't know about the issues, to know that there's maybe another side, look for the answers. This is what we're trying to promote is the overall condition of a more literate Manitoban, Manitoba society. And we're not going to be able to grow as a sector unless we start thinking about not just now, not just our quarterly goals now, our annual goals or 3-year goals, but it's like where are we going to be in 15 years, 20 years? Those kids in early years, middle years, senior years are going to be the future of that.
and if they don't have the connection to food and agriculture now, it's not going to just magically appear. Yeah, no, I love it. Katharine, what a great conversation. And like I say, I've been, even before getting involved with Protein MB, a huge proponent of this from a health standpoint.
Yeah.
If we want the next generation to be healthy, they got to understand their food, where it comes from. We want people fed, and food
Mm-hmm.
security, and that again comes from ensuring that agriculture system is strong. And I think society has shown it time and again. If you want strong industries, strong thought leaders, you got to educate them, and that is what Ag in the Classroom is doing. So thank you and your team for the amazing work you do in the
Thank you.
classrooms, and appreciate the conversation today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jordan. Anytime.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I'll be definitely calling you to come back on soon, because there's more to
You can
cover.
come do
Always more to
a live podcast at one of our events when you're volunteering.
Well, you can please believe that I'll be getting involved with a lot of the stuff that you guys are doing.
Good.
So, again, thank you for your time, and I look forward to getting people's feedback online and social media. They can get a hold of us at Protein MB. And now for Ag in the
Mm-hmm.
classroom, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can get a hold of me through our website, www.aitc.mb.ca. My contact information is on there. You can always email me, Katharine at aitc.mb.ca. And yeah, we just look forward to, you can sign up to be a volunteer. You can donate right from our webpage as an individual. You can come out and check out one of our events. There's lots of ways of being involved.
Love it. Well, I'm looking forward to the next generation getting educated. Thanks again for your time, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks, Jordan.